folks, it's Rob the Robot from the Adobe Education team here, and I'd like to welcome all of you to the 2021 APAC Adobe Education Summit. Please introduce yourself in the chat and tweet about this event with the hashtag Adobe Edu Creative. Now here are your hosts, Dr. Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
Thanks again, Rob. It is delightful to welcome all of you back to the final session for the open day of the 2021 APAC Adobe Education Summit. At the end of this session, we will be posting a link to a feedback form that will provide you with the opportunity to receive a professional learning certificate for this event.
That's something that's been asked a few times in the chat, so I'm sure a lot of our people joining us at home will be very glad to hear it. Speaking of certification, JB Tinker from Certaport is about to join us to share some new Adobe certification solutions for you, your colleagues, and most importantly, your students.
And then Clara from the Global Adobe Education team will be joining us to close the summit all the way from Barcelona.
So first, let's welcome JB. JB, welcome. Tell us about Certaport and how they partner with Adobe.
Hi, Erin. Hi, Tim. Thanks for having me along today. Love to chat with everybody about the certification programs we have here at Certaport. As you can see up there on the screen, we've going to share some links with you. Tim will hopefully put on the screen for you to jump through to all of the resources that we have for the Adobe program. Now, some of you may have heard in the past about Adobe Certified Associate. We've done some rebranding and some work with Adobe in the last 6 months or so, and this program is now called the Adobe Certified Professional Certification. So it's been tweaked a little bit, aimed more at some advanced secondary students or post-secondary students, and also some professionals. So if you're working in the industry already, these certifications are still for you. It's not just for students. We cover a range of different programs within the Creative Suite. So if I jump over here, we'll see we have certifications available for After Effects, for Animate, for Dreamweaver, Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop, and Premiere Pro. And all of these certifications are available in the latest and greatest version of the Creative Cloud, and also a few versions back. So if you haven't quite updated yet, we still have exams available for you. So what I wanted to do is, Tim's got a video that he'll play for us real quickly that briefly explains the entire process from start to end, and then I'll come back and explain a little more detail about some of the aspects of the program.
You're an educator, and a good one. So you know Adobe Certified Professional Certification is a great way to give your students a head start out there. It's an industry-recognized credential for creative professionals. It proves your students' skills and boosts their job applications and resumes. So, how can your students get this boost? Let's take a look. To get certified, your students need to pass a Certaport authorized exam in one or more of the Adobe Cloud applications. Adobe exams are timed and include multiple choice and matching questions, performance-based simulated tasks, and live in the app items using real Adobe software. They're designed by industry experts to test students' real-world professional capabilities. Once your students pass, they're added to Certaport's digital transcript database and will receive their Adobe certificates and online badges. The best way to offer the exams is for your school to become a Certaport authorized testing center. Don't worry, becoming a testing center is easy. Talk to your Certaport representative and they'll guide you through these 4 simple steps. First, verify that your facility meets the technical standards. Then, register. Next, purchase the exams. And finally, download and install the exam software on all computers that will be used for testing. That's it. You are now a Certaport authorized testing center, and you can administer the exams whenever you're ready. Certaport also offers a full pathway solution that has training materials, practice tests, and exam vouchers. That includes resources to help educators adjust their curriculum to cover the knowledge and skills that students need to pass the exams. Talk to your Certaport representative for more information.
Thanks, Tim.
You're an educator.
hopefully that gave you a better overview of the Certaport program and how we work with Adobe to provide the certifications to students. We also each year run a World Championship on the Adobe Certified program. So up until now, since it's been ACA or Adobe Certified Associate, this will be the last year that we have our ACA Championship. Moving forward, it will be the ACP Championship. So Tim, if you can show my screen there, and there's a link there, acachampionship.com. We'd really encourage you to share this with your students. It's a fantastic opportunity for students who can compete from all over the world against students from all over the world. We run this championship like a real company. So the students pretend that they're working for a design company. They're given a real world brief from a real world charity. They're given some style guides, some basic imagery, and then they're given a few hours to create a real campaign, a real piece of artwork that this charity can use and will use in their marketing efforts over the coming months. So we've had some amazing results from students at these competitions. The artwork that is produced in the 5 or 6 hours that these students get is just phenomenal. We, a few years back, had a student from New Zealand who really performed well at this championship and won the People's Choice Award. She has included her experience, her certificates, her exams, and her competition results in her application for university. And because of the portfolio that she had, that was bundled with these extra certificates from Adobe saying that she could use the software, she received Massey University's Vice Chancellor's High Achievers Art Scholarship, and is, I think, in her final year now at university. And because of her experience, because she has an amazing portfolio, and because she has these certificates from Adobe proving that she has the skills on the software, she's already begun working in some real world jobs while studying, putting together all of the graphic design for a few art gallery presentations that have been held over in New Zealand. So the real world opportunities are amazing. We'd really love to have you and your students participate in this championship. This year, because of COVID restrictions, it will be run entirely online. So we'll make sure that we get Tim all of the links to all of the sessions that you'll be able to see the work and the designs that these students put together this year to prepare then to participate with us next year. One of the other things that we offer is digital badging. So as you complete each of the exams, you receive a hard copy or a paper certificate that you can put on your wall, but you also receive this badge that you can include on all of your social media sites, on your emails, however you like. So you can see here, this is a Photoshop exam that I passed last year. And I can now include this on all of my portfolios, all of my social media, and on my email signatures to really show off the fact that when it comes to Photoshop, Adobe says that JB knows what he's doing. This isn't just JB saying JB knows what he's doing. So it's a fantastic option for all the students to include on all of their portfolios as they move from high school into further education. Or as they're going out to apply for jobs. It really is a fantastic piece of evidence and backing from a fantastic company like Adobe to say, I know what I'm doing, you should hire me. So thanks for all your time. I'll be hanging around, participating and watching in the streams for the next little while, so I'm more than happy to answer any questions, share any more stories.
Mm-hmm. We already have some questions in the chat. I've preloaded one from Craig. He's asking, is Certaport now managing the ACP in Australia rather than a subsidy company?
So we have in every country a local partner who does the day-to-day interactions with the schools and the students. So we do have a company here in Australia, Prodigy Learning, different one for each country. So while you can absolutely reach out to me and I can answer every question that you might have, when it comes to the actual doing, we'll need to connect you with our partner in whichever country you're from.
Okay, cool. And Joel Aarons asks at JB, is there the opportunity for AELs to get certified like in the past? Would love to take it up.
Absolutely. We'll work that out. We've got some online exams from home solutions since we're here in lockdown, especially in Melbourne. So we'll work that out for sure, and we can work that through Tim and put the offer out to all of the AELs.
Fantastic. I'll just have a bit of a looky-loo here, Tim.
No worries. And JB, when you get a chance, we'll get you to jump into the Vimeo live stream chat so you can see any other questions that might come up after we finish with you. I have very fond memories of traveling to California. It was Los Angeles with you many years ago, where we got to see the Adobe certified. It wasn't called Adobe, it was with Microsoft as well, wasn't it? It was a big certification competition, and it was held at the Disneyland Hotel, and that was pretty awesome.
It is. It's a very fun place to be, and especially with students from all over the world. You really can't imagine a more excited group of students, looking forward to taking exams and doing tests. It's a wonderful experience.
I wasn't so fussed about that. I was amazed that we were right next to Disneyland. And your boss at the time, Richard, he gave me 2 VIP tickets so that I could go in early before the gates open and get into as many rides as I possibly could. Best day ever.
Oh my goodness, what a privilege and a pleasure that must have been, Tim. And if you just look at the bottom of the screen, Monique said that we had the world champion, speaking of worldwide students, about 4 years ago, and the student got a paid internship right out of high school at one of the top design firms here because our Monique is joining us from Las Vegas.
It's a pretty common experience, I think, for students when they travel home from these competitions with giant oversized checks that they have to somehow stuff into the overhead baggage on an aeroplane. They very, very frequently get job offers as they're traveling home and explaining why they have this large check.
That is incredible, isn't it? And Monique adds, thanks to Certaport, many of our teachers, myself included, become ACA certified for free. They are the best.
I agree. We're the best.
Ringing endorsement.
Yeah, and obviously we'll make that same offer available. We'll work with Tim to get that out to everybody.
Maybe if you're able to give us some contact details in the chat, it's up to you. Otherwise, just email me and people can contact me as well so we can do some of that. We've got some other conversations happening through social media, because for this last session, we've actually gone out live to the Adobe for Education YouTube channel and to my YouTube channel and Twitter and Facebook. So there's a few extra people who are joining us, which is fantastic. That's great to see. Anything else in the chat there at all, Erin?
Sorry, I'm checking the socials and checking our feed in Vimeo live stream. Just lots of very positive comments. Steve O'Neill's another one that would love some info for AELs. And yeah, a lot of really positive comments about the potential for that being made available for teachers to complete as well. So that would be amazing.
Wonderful. Well, JB, thank you so much for your time. And it really is a valuable contribution, because let's face it, we teach a lot of the skills, but to actually have a certification that the students can take and put into their resumes when they leave school, when they leave TAFE, when they leave university, that is industry recognized, is incredibly valuable. And thank you for all the work that you do.
All right. Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Erin.
Thanks for being part of the 2021 APAC Adobe Education Summit. Please share questions and comments in the chat and tweet about this event with the hashtag AdobeEduCreative.
Well, Erin, do you know, it's something we need to do is to promote the Inject Creativity live show.
Indeed.
It has, well, we just had our 50th episode just last week.
We did just have our 50th episode, and I will just actually quickly double check. I think we were getting, when I last looked, we were up over the 500 views mark. I will just quickly check now to see if we've gotten any further than that, because I think we might have. It was a few days ago now.
For our last episode?
For our 50th episode, yeah.
Better still, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to jump into
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of one of the weeks before. We're up to 281 views so far, and that's over the last week for our 50th episode. And I'll just pop the link to that episode into the chat for everyone so they can bookmark it for later, because it was a great show.
Absolutely, yeah, like they all are. We actually get an average. We did the numbers about a month ago. We get an average of 660 hits in the show, which is fantastic. We only get maybe 10, 20 live because it's at a not a particularly great time for young families, 6:30 p.m. for Australian Eastern Standard Time. But we do it at that time because it's just after school for Western Australia and Southeast Asia, and it's just before bedtime for New Zealand. So we cover pretty much the whole of the Asia Pacific region at that time.
We do. And we have some very loyal frequent flyers. It isn't just for people in the Asia Pacific region. We also have a very, very loyal viewer base from some of our Adobe education leaders. We've got Timothy Cosgrove, who's currently over in Canada, and he jumps in at crazy o'clock in the morning. It's like 4 or 5 o'clock, sometimes 3 o'clock if we've got daylight savings going, to jump in and join us. And it is a really wonderful show. I mean, I know that I get so much from it, not just from hosting with you, Tim, but to actually listen to all of the wonderful thought leaders and education leaders as they come in and share not just practical, here's where you click in the app experience, but also wonderful stories, not unlike our classroom success stories, but they get to expand on them for about 20 minutes per episode. And then we get that gem from that thought leader. And, you know, we've had some wonderful speakers recently, haven't we, Tim?
We have. In fact, I'm going to play a quick little video here that sums up. I made this as a little advertisement for the Inject Creativity Live show at the start of this year, but it really gives you an overview of what the show is all about. Inject Creativity Live is an online show on YouTube for K-12 and post-secondary teachers who are interested in finding new and creative ways to engage their students with a focus on Adobe tools. Adobe applications are now available in more schools and universities than ever before. The show tends to focus on the simple-to-use and access tools like Adobe Spark Post and Spark Page, Spark Video, as well as Premiere Rush, but we also share tips on how to use Adobe's more traditional and professional creativity tools like Photoshop, Premiere Pro, Illustrator, InDesign, and Acrobat. Inject Creativity Live started during the 2020 COVID lockdown as a way of reaching teachers while the Adobe education team were not able to run face-to-face events. And the focus was on online teaching. Now the focus is on a blended approach to teaching and learning. During 2021, we have 18 episodes planned, and the format involves a 45-minute show hosted by myself and the amazing Erin Raithke, who is a talented Adobe education leader from TAFE, Queensland. Each episode will feature a 15 to 20-minute practical demonstration from an Adobe education leader who is a practicing K-12 or higher education teacher from a range of curriculum areas and passionate about the use of Adobe tools in the classroom. We also plan to have a 5-minute segment from an education thought leader who is not necessarily an Adobe user, but a well-known and respected educator who will be sharing an inspirational message or a thought about how we can make the education system a better place for students. The show is recorded live on the Adobe for Education YouTube channel, as well as other social media channels every second Wednesday night during the school terms at 6:30 p.m. Melbourne, Sydney time, which is a non-teaching time for the whole of the Asia Pacific region. It's after school in Western Australia and Southeast Asia, and it's just before bedtime in New Zealand and Fiji. If you can't I'm just going to pause it there, Erin, because we seem to have lost Will, and we seem to have lost our live stream.
Yeah, we've got a message saying back live again soon on our stream.
There you go. I can see that, but I'm not sure if people can hear us. I obviously can't, because the only people who can probably hear us at the moment are those who have joined us through YouTube.
I might just jump onto that our YouTube channel and throw the URL into the chat for the live stream, because I don't. John Bowden asks, "Did we pay the bill?"
G'day, mate. What's up? Okay.
Oh, wait a second. Testing 1, 2, 3. Well, let's just add that in there. I'm just going to tell the people that are joining us on the Vimeo live stream, this is the YouTube feed where we are still live. Oh dear, now I'm getting asked to share my wedding photos, Tim. Well, thank you very much for everyone who's joining us from YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter as well. While we're fixing this up and potentially getting everybody over from our previously very, very reliable Vimeo live stream and into another streaming platform, we're just going to see what's the go, Tim.
Yeah, I think we're all good. Will lost access, but we're back in action now. So I'll keep playing this video live to share comments and interact with our presenters. Then the recordings are available via the Adobe for Education YouTube channel, and past recordings are archived on the Inject Creativity Live website. You don't have to be an Adobe user to get a lot from the Inject Creativity Live show. Just a teacher who has an open and creative mindset and a passion to empower the next generation to be lifelong creators. So that
was an adventure.
Yeah, there we go. So I'm glad we're back in action again.
We've done so well. It's been a marathon over the last 2 days, and Will's worked so hard to make sure everything's run smoothly. If we're going to have a hiccup, I'm glad it was during a promo video for our show, of which a lot of our viewers are already here at the very end of the day. So that's very handy.
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't in the middle of someone else's presentation. So that's all good. Now, just while we're waiting for Clara to join us,
well, I was thinking, Tim, did you want me to just do a little bit of a demonstration of the Spark page I've been working on that's quite long by this stage, and talk through what I do for Inject Creativity Live and how I share those links out to different networks?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I'll just share my screen, make sure I pick up the right monitor. There we go. So as you can see on my screen, both Tim and I have our own websites where we have blogs and we, track and share what we've been working on and what we've been doing. So on my particular blog, I always do a little bit of a thought summary about what we've done. I share the link to the show in the top of the screen, and I include this little link here. Now, as you've noticed, it isn't a standard HTML link. It's a little bit more interactive than that, and it has a read more button that then takes you to my Adobe Spark page. Now, when I'm working on my Spark summary for a show, to get that nifty little box that appears, what I do is while I'm in my Spark page, once I'm ready to go, I select the share button at the top center of the web version of Adobe Spark page, and I select publish and share link. Now, for those of you who are starting to get more au fait with the world of coding, especially in learning management systems, there is usually spaces for you to do something called add an embed code. Now, you don't need to know how to code nowadays. A lot of platforms do offer an embed code up to you, and Adobe Spark page is no exception. So to get that embed code, what I'm going to do is I'm going to publish my project by making sure it's in the right category. I'm going to put it under my own name using that what has my little avatar that I created in one of my wonderful Adobe edX courses that I did for design creative thinking. And I'm going to make sure I make the choice that I'm happy for this to be noticed on the Spark website. So I tick that box. It is off by default. So if you're doing this with students, just for security, make sure that they're not sharing things publicly. I'm fine to do it. And what I'm going to do is hit the create link button. Now, I'm not sure how long this page is going to take. Oh, it was so quick. I was thinking it would be ages because it is a big, big page. Now, as you can see, I've got that lovely shareable link that I will be updating a little bit later, and I'll just pop that into the chat now. But what I also have is just in little gray writing, just hiding underneath there, a little set of publish options. Now, those publish options take me back to that menu before, just in case I need to make some changes. But what I can also do is share to Facebook, Twitter, Classroom, Teams, email, and if I want to embed it into an LMS page or somewhere else, I select that embed button. And it will spit out a wonderful pre-made embed code for me to select and copy, so I can go back into any, web-based page that I have, whether it's my own website, whether it's a learning management system, grab that embed code and add it into a window for it to then now sit nice and neatly in my project or platform or news announcement or whatever use you may have for it. So if you have any, and we've got a few questions about the embed code, so I'll just stop sharing and bring Tim back up on the screen. So one question here we've got from Joe Newton saying, question for students who use Adobe Spark under a TAFE Adobe ID. What happens to access when they leave TAFE? Can they migrate to a personal ID? You can speak to that a little bit, can't you, Tim?
Yeah, we're working on a migration tool at the moment, and I'm not sure what stage it's actually up to so that people can migrate from one account to the other, but it certainly was on the roadmap. And whether it's actually finished or not, I'm not sure. I think I would have heard now if it was back then.
And if there are projects that students are particularly passionate about, and especially if they fit into that 13-year or older age bracket where they are allowed to get their own personal Adobe ID, while that solution is being organized, there is always the option for you to add from a school-based or workplace-based account. You can add a private Adobe ID or Adobe account as a collaborator, and then you can take a copy of the project in that account. It's a bit of a clunky solution, but it is one way of curating assets that you're really, really proud of and want to make sure you have backed up from one Adobe ID to another Adobe ID, and the security of that is completely within the originator's control up until the point after they share it. Once it's shared, then that person whose Adobe ID you have nominated in this field here can take a copy for their own use.
Excellent. And just while I'll just quickly share my screen as well, because what we've got, when you do go into the Inject Creativity live show site, which we've put into the chat a couple of times, this is what it looks like. When you scroll down, you can see there's a link now straight to recent episodes. So if you want to click on that, that'll take you to the most recent episode. But then you can also scroll down and have a look at the one before that, the one before that. And so we're archiving in here, as well as we're archiving within the Adobe for Education YouTube channel as well. So there's a couple of ways that you can go back and have a look at the various shows. If you're interested to know what's actually happening in the future, when you go to the site, if you scroll down a little bit further, there is a link here called the Program of Events. So when you click on that, it'll take you to a list of what's coming up. So Brett Kent, who you've met today, has done a couple of sessions today already, is presenting again next Wednesday with Paul McLean from New Zealand. He'll be our thought leader, and then Brett Salakis is after that. And there's our program until the rest of this year anyway. Yep. We've already started planning for next year. We've got 19 episodes already in the can, ready to share for next year, which is really exciting.
That is fantastic. So that'd be, because obviously they're all taped live, but Tim puts so much work into organizing all of the AELs and special thought leader guests that come along and share all of this really valuable and inspirational work with us. And I'd like to, a bit of a round of applause for Tim and all of the work that he and Jerry behind the scenes put into making the show happen. I do actually have one little thing that I was hoping I'd get a chance to share. During my presentation earlier, during the classroom success stories, I mentioned how I love putting my presentations into presenter mode to give like a really nice, clean sort of like presentation that I can pop up on the screen in place of using just a PowerPoint all the time, every time. Now, when you're working in Spark, once you publish a link, you don't have the little menu options at the top of the screen to chuck it into presenter mode. But what I've discovered in our wonderful communities in the Adobe user voice communities is there is a really cool little hack so that you can take a URL for a Spark page, any Spark page that's been created and shared online, and you can add this that I'm popping into the chat into the end of the URL. So I'll just pop that as well into the chat for our viewers at home. So if you've grabbed that URL that I shared earlier and you pop it on screen and then you add this at the end. So where is that lovely link that I got earlier? It now means that if you put that there, and then have that at the end, it will automatically open up the Spark page instead of it being a manual scrolly experience. It will actually look at the layouts that you've selected, and if you use the left and right buttons to navigate through, it will actually push you more smoothly through the Adobe Spark page. So instead of it just being full-on scrolls, it actually glides through. So if you're using this for presentation purposes, it makes Adobe Spark page have a totally different experience for published URLs.
That's a good tip, Erin. Thank you very much. We're going to hear from Rob, and then at the other side of that, we're going to bring Clara to the stage.
Thanks for being part of the 2021 APAC Adobe Education Summit. Please share questions and comments in the chat and tweet about this event with the hashtag #AdobeEduCreative.
Well, thanks, Rob, and welcome, Clara, all the way from Barcelona.
Hooray, Clara. For those who haven't met you before, explain your role with Adobe and a little bit about your background to our viewers today.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining in to the APAC Annual Adobe Education Summit. For those who I haven't met, my name is Clara Galan, and I manage our Educator community programs here at Adobe, not only in the US, but also internationally. So looking forward to seeing everyone's feedback in this professional learning experience today.
Well, Clara, we've had an amazing day. So we want to just give you a run through of what we've done today, and then we're going to hand it over to you to do some closing comments for us. And what did we start the day with, Erin?
Well, we started the day with presentations from your colleagues in the US, Dr. Brian Johnsrud and Mark Nemitz, with a focus on Adobe Education Global Programs. Oh, goodness gracious. Let's try that again. Adobe Education Global Programs, huzzah, and the amazing Adobe Education Exchange.
And then we had a great session from our colleague, Tacey Trowbridge, who, by the way, employed both of us. She was our first boss at Adobe. So it was lovely to reconnect with her, and she shared about Adobe in Education thought leadership programs.
Then Dr. Kitchen and I started a session on Adobe's low-lift and high-impact apps focusing on Adobe Spark. So this was followed by 2 sets of classroom success stories from Adobe education leaders.
The first one featured Juliet Bentley, Erin Rathke, and Brett Kent, and focused on Adobe Spark.
The next one featured Ali Blackwell and Craig Dalmeyer Power and focused on Adobe InDesign.
The next classroom success story was by Dr. Max Sleasier, Mel Muller, and Brett Kent, and focused on AR and VR solutions.
The second set of classroom success stories began with Joel Ahrens and Adrian Brook focusing on Adobe Photoshop.
Then Mark Wazowski and Emma Wise shared their success stories on their students' use of Adobe After Effects.
And the final classroom success story was from Michelle Dennis and Craig Delmeyer Power, focused on Adobe XD.
It has been an amazing day of professional learning from so many amazing people and Adobe education leaders, and it's been inspiring. So now, Clara, it's time for you to finish it off for us.
Great. Well, thank you, Tim, so much for having me here. And again, good morning to everyone. I'm live streaming here from Barcelona. So it's about 7:30 in the morning for me. Just have my morning coffee here, ready to see everyone. But if you're joining in from any of our the live stream, please post in the chat, where you're joining us from. I'd love to go through the comments later on and connect with each and every one of you and kind of learn a little bit more about your classroom background. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and share my screen. And let's see here. Of course, the joy of doing everything live. All righty. So making sure that that is looking good. All right. Perfect. Well, again, if you're joining in, please, again, post in the chat any comments that you have. I know my colleagues, Aaron and Tim, will be monitoring the chat and happy to answer any questions that you have after the presentation. But again, a great day of learning at the Adobe APAC Education Summit. Usually I would be there in person with everyone in Sydney and hope to see you again in the future soon. But whether you attended our pre-conference yesterday as an Adobe education leader or are a member of our Adobe Creative Educator community, welcome to the summit. And we look forward to learning with you and sharing with you all around the world. So for those who attended the summit yesterday, you'll see some of these slides are familiar. But for those who are joining in for the first time, I'll be sharing some highlights of our community programs here at Adobe for Education, in addition to some new content for those who might have attended yesterday and might not have seen. So I wanted to kick it off with saying we are better together. So a big thank you to all educators who took time out of their day to be here with us today. Truly, the way that we improve our instructional practice and our connections to students and our school community is by learning and sharing with one another. So thank you again for being a part of this global community. And, we are better together in our community of practice. So here at Adobe Education, our mission is that we strive to connect and inspire educators in their journey to nurture the next generation of lifelong creators. And what I can share about my own team, and I know the team in APAC and Australia and New Zealand that you've connected with, are all former educators. So for us, first and foremost, the most important thing that we nurture in our community programs is that we inspire educators to connect with one another to improve student learning outcomes and to inspire teaching and learning. Of course, we have some incredible creation tools here at Adobe that really help us to tell our stories in visually compelling ways and to really equip students as digital citizens within education technology. But at the forefront of everything we do is educator-driven professional development and really encouraging teachers to share with one another to improve practice and ultimately impact the most incredible group of students that are unique to each and every educator here today. So we encourage you to join us in this mission as we are really working towards inspiring that next generation to become creators. And not only creators, but students are empowered as creators, not consumers. So again, we're really focusing on making sure that students have all the tools that they need to create and to visually communicate. Again, we encourage students to communicate their ideas to an authentic audience in a visually compelling way. And now the world has changed a lot, as I know everyone is in kind of the same boat here globally with the pandemic, but also within the last 10, 20 years, the workforce has completely transformed. And we don't know exactly what the roles of the future will entail, or even areas of study. I know I can speak from my own background. I have my master's in education and studied English literature in my undergraduate. And I'm working in, developing educator communities in a virtual environment. So, and I can also speak to my brother, for example, studied bioengineering, and now he's, has transitioned into data science. So 2 roles that did not exist when we graduated from university, and this will continue to be the case as we prepare students for the future. But what we can do is equip students with creative problem-solving skills, critical thinking skills, and give them the tools that they need to be able to take different data points and communicate them in a visually compelling way to an authentic audience. And I've seen a lot of this. This community has been incredible in coming together as we've all been mostly online over the past 2 years. So we're really looking forward to continuing
Clara,
this.
I'm just going to interrupt you for a second because we seem to have lost connection with the Vimeo live stream again at the moment.
Oh, no.
We had a little connection issue just before. Will's still with us, though. He can hear that there seems to be an issue, although he's shaking his head. Oh, he's okay. We're coming back.
Yep,
So
it looks fine to me, Tim.
Excellent. All right, no worries. I will continue on. You continue on. Thank you. See ya.
Perfect. Sounds great. And again, thank you all for bearing with us as we've been doing quite a bit of live streams. Speaking of a dynamic environment that's transforming with technology, this is the joy of doing things live, so we're able to connect. But again, thank you for bearing with us as we have these technical issues. And I'm sure many of you can relate also in your classrooms as teaching digitally. But again, we're really excited to connect with you and really work with you to help empower your students as creators. So here at Adobe for Education, we have 3 pillars of our community programs. The first is our global community of professional learning, which is first and foremost beyond any tools and resources that we would provide. Our main goal is to connect educators to one another around the world, to share best teaching practices, and really empower them as professional learners. The second pillar is our partnerships with product teams. So each and every one of you are experts in your classroom. You are experts in what works with students and how to really equip them with the resources and tools that they need to be successful. And here at Adobe, as you know, we have many different products and tools, whether it's with Creative Cloud, Document Cloud, or Experience Cloud. And we want to be able to partner with you to help pave the product roadmap. So whether that is new features that we're developing, or if it's new products that we're developing entirely, we want to work with you to inform what works best in education. Because although our team has taught in the classroom, we're visiting classrooms, you are the experts, and we want to be able to work with you to create the best tools possible for students and teachers. And last but not least, our last pillar is amplifying educator voices and stories. And so, as you know, we have many channels here at Adobe, whether it's on our social media channels or in our newsletters or on our blog. And instead of us sharing highlights from Adobe, which we do at times, it's more about telling your stories and what works in your classrooms. So we want to really shine a light and celebrate the work that you're doing, and expand it to a larger audience so that we can inspire other educators all around the world. And I know this term may be familiar for everyone on this call, but really, again, our main purpose is to help build our PLN, so our professional learning networks, which are online networks where educators can share resources and ideas with one another, both virtually and hopefully one day in person. So I love this image, this sketch note from Sylvia Duckworth. And if you are on Twitter, I really encourage you to follow her. We've had her on the Adobe Creative Educator live stream show. And she has some great tips for sketchnoting, but also images that are really helpful. So I'll be sharing out this deck later on if you'd like to use this image and attribute it to Sylvia. But some 10 reasons why the PLN and the Professional Learning Network is such a powerful tool for our own professional learning. And it's possible to build your PLN from a variety of online and in-person communities to connect with educators internationally. It can be the backbone of your professional development. And I can share from my own experience teaching middle school. At times it can be isolating as you're in your classroom, whether it's in person or if you're teaching online, and you don't get that opportunity a lot of times to go down the hall and see what the other teachers are working on, or share kind of what you're excited about in your classroom or challenges that you have. So this is really a way for you to have that 24-hour network, no matter what time zone you're in, and to be able to connect with other teachers. So this year was very exciting for us because on the Adobe Education Exchange, which is our open educational resource platform that's completely free with free courses, lesson plans, teacher-generated instructional materials, we hit over 1 million educators, which is incredible. As I know some of the team members, I know you might have heard from some of my colleagues earlier on, were there since its infancy, including Tacey Trowbridge, who I know who you heard from earlier today as well. So as you can see, this is our heat map of where we have educators all around the world. But if you're not already on the Adobe Education Exchange, we strongly encourage you to create an account, access all the free resources that are on there. And we have incredible partners like Khan Academy and Better Lesson, and more to come soon. So again, just go to x.adobe.com and you can sign up there and connect with teachers all around the world. So another exciting piece that many of you I know who are tuning in are already a part of, the Adobe Creative Educator program is our international program for educators in every subject area and grade level. And currently, we just launched the program internationally in July of 2020. And it was our very first professional development and community badging program that we offered for educators in every subject area and grade level. And now if you think about it, traditionally, Adobe and before Adobe Macromedia, tools were really in terms of education, we're really focused on digital media subjects like graphic design and video production and game design. And in the last few years, Adobe has developed more tools that make it even more accessible for anyone to be a creator, really embodying Adobe's thought leadership of creativity for all. So the Adobe Creative Educator program takes it from the very beginning. Again, going back to our tenets of teaching and learning first and foremost, focuses on creativity across the curriculum, including, how do we define creativity? What does creativity look like in every subject area and grade level? And so then we have our level 2, which then focuses more on instructional design and how to start to include more Adobe tools into the curriculum, like Adobe Spark and others. So if you are not already a part of the Creative Educator program, we encourage you to go to adobe.ly/ACE, where you can sign up. And if you have colleagues who are interested in exploring creativity in their curriculum, helping every student become a creator, be sure to share this program with them. And for those who might be new to Adobe or have explored in the Adobe Creative Educator program, I wanted to share some highlights for general education in particular when it comes to Adobe Spark Post. So the first, and we made a lot of advancements this past year in Adobe Spark Post. As you can see, I love this animation within text that you can create, which saves the post as a video file that you can then share on your social media channels or bring it into a student project. And Adobe Spark Post makes it really easy to download any image. We have templates baked in specifically for education, but also for other areas as well. So whether it be a student club or another school activity where you need to create an image, it makes it really easy for students who might not have a background or educators who might not have a background in graphic design to get started with some of those design guardrails built in. So looking forward to seeing your posts, and we will be sharing throughout the rest of this academic year remixable Spark templates that you can tweak and share with the larger community with a hashtag Adobe Edu Creative. Also, Adobe Spark Page is a really great way, as I know many of you might already know who are tuning in, to create portfolios or to create school web pages. And one of my favorite examples of Adobe Spark Page was in the UK, and I met with a group of third graders who actually created a web page for the local deli through Adobe Spark Page. And they had no background in using Adobe before, but just kind of started using the tool. It was very drag and drop. And it was incredible to see how this educator created such a authentic environment for these students. As they went down to the local deli, they interviewed the owners, they took photos, they wrote even marketing copy for the deli. And that then served within that local village for the local deli's web page. So just one example of how Adobe Spark Page can be used with an authentic audience, but more to come within the Adobe Creative Educator program, as we will be sharing more exemplars and challenges of how you can create a portfolio with your students or a reflection of your own personal learning using Adobe Spark Page. Last but not least is Adobe Spark Video. And actually, I'd love to share an example of one of our educators with their students in elementary and primary grades who created a video, in using sea turtles. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and I will go and share my web page here. And I think you can see this as well, if we can bring that to the screen. Oh, there we go. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this. I'll take my sound out so you can hear it.
This video is called Sea Turtles. Sea turtles lay on average about 110 eggs at a time. When the babies grow up, they go to the same beach that they were born. Then they lay their own egg. There are 7 different species of sea turtles. Green, hawksbill, flatback, loggerhead, Kemp's Ridley, olive ridley, leatherback. Their diet is jellyfish, seaweed, crabs, shrimp, sponges, snails, algae, and mollusks. Sea turtles are one of the most ancient creatures. I hope you enjoyed this video. Written and produced by Emma with the help of Adobe Spark.
So that is a great example of how even, and I'll go ahead and put my headphones back in here. That's a great example of how elementary students can use Adobe Spark, and what an incredible tool to encourage storytelling. As you see, this student had a voiceover. She had to research sea turtles, so this would be for a sciences class, and then took her, own drawings and images that she found, using Creative Commons, and then had the actual citation then at the end. So looking forward to seeing the comments in the chat and how you will use some of these tools in your own classroom, especially if you're just embarking on your journey as an Adobe Creative Educator. I'll go ahead and share my screen again to go back to the presentation. And let's see here. There we go. Perfect. So moving on, there are also a lot of great resources for the Adobe Creative Educator program, including these digital creative process cards that go through the creative process of define, create, and reflect that you can use in any subject area and grade level. We have over 70 cards that are within a virtual format. And then we also offer a physical version too. So be sure to reach out to us if this is something you're interested in. And in the chat, I'll go ahead and post a link to how you can access these cards and the interactive poster. And then the poster, we actually have printed versions in addition to a virtual version and a remixable template where you can actually track the process of the creative process with your students throughout the course of the year. And I should mention, again, the digital creative process cards have different prompts, so you can like pull them throughout the day, or if it's for a specific assignment, we have different examples of how you can use them. And in terms of some of our leadership communities here at Adobe, we have our Adobe Creative Educator crew, which are some of our founding members of the Adobe Creative Educator program that come from all over the world. So you can take a look again at edx.adobe.com/Adobe Creative Educator or adobe.ly/ACE. We can post some of those links in the comments. And you can check out all of their different profiles, follow them on edX, follow them on Twitter and social media channels. And if you are an Adobe Creative Educator and want to become more involved in our leadership committee, please send me an email or write me on Twitter. I'll share that at the end of this presentation. And a big thank you to our Adobe education leaders. So while Adobe Creative Educator tends to focus more on general education subjects, our Adobe education leaders are our group of advisors, our board of advisors that have an in-depth knowledge of Creative Cloud tools and Document Cloud tools and tend to focus more on digital media subjects. Although we also have educators in the program that are focused on general education subjects as well, but have really shown innovative practices in terms of how they're using Creative Cloud in their schools and in their classrooms. Adobe education leaders serve as our board of advisors. So they are the only community at Adobe that are under a non-disclosure agreement. So that means they get access to features before we launch them, direct access to product teams, and many other perks as well. So if you have an in-depth knowledge of Creative Cloud and you're interested in joining this expert community, be sure to reach out to us, and we'd love to learn a little bit more about your work and share more about the program. Some more ways that you can get involved in more activities virtually, so no matter where you're tuning in from the world, all of these resources that I'm going to share here today are recorded, so regardless of your time zone, and you can participate in the chat either live or after the recording. So our Adobe education leaders, as I mentioned, we have 6 AELs that are streaming here on Behance that are featured in this image. Matthias Klausner, Craig Delmeyer Power, joining us from Australia, Georgina Dean, Joseph Lebrecq, Andrew McAllister, Hannah Messer, and Ken Shinaberry. So we have 7 educators there on the list. And we encourage you to check out their streams if you go to behance.net/live and check out the whole 2021-2022 schedule on the Spark page below. And again, we'll be sure to share out this presentation with each and all of you so you can access all of these links. As you know, Tim and Aaron host the Inject Creativity live series specifically for the APAC region, but we also have for North America and EMEA our Adobe Creative Educator live stream show every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time on our Facebook and YouTube and Twitter channels. As part of this live stream, we've been doing a virtual tour, a virtual creativity in the clouds tour, where in our virtual hot air balloon, we've been stopping down at different institutions and districts all around the world. So you can catch some of this tour. Right now, we are currently in the United Kingdom. We spent the earlier part of the year in the States. We'll be then in India, and then coming your way to Australia. So be sure to check out the on-demand episodes. You can still participate in the chat and connect with the different speakers that we featured. And be sure to join us for upcoming sessions. And in terms of resources, we also have the 2021 Adobe Education Exchange on-demand courses. So as I mentioned, we have over 1 million educators that are on the Adobe Education Exchange. And we offer free on-demand courses, which are incredible because it can fit into your busy teaching schedule, and you can tune in from any time zone. So the newest courses we have available are our Adobe Analytics for teaching and learning, in addition to digital painting and drawing in the classroom. We'll also be open soon for enrollment as the Adobe Creative Educator Level 2 course. So if you have taken the course before, we're currently doing a redesign on the assignment and some of the modules in the course to make them even more meaningful for you and the work that you're doing in your own professional development. So you can still take the course. It's available if you search for it on the Education Exchange, but we don't have it currently featured on the Creative Educator landing page. So just know that that redesign will be launching in the next couple of weeks. But in the meantime, if you still want to take the Level 2 course and get your Level 2 badge, not a problem. You can just search for Design Your Creative Class or course for K-12 or higher ed on edX. And if you have any questions about our on-demand courses, again, please feel free to reach out to myself or to Tim, and we can help point you in the right direction. And very exciting, in the end of October, we have Adobe Max coming up. And for those who have not attended Max in person, I would love to see in the chat and in the comments if you have attended Max, whether it's virtually or in person, any of your highlights or what your experience was like. But the last year we did Max online for the first time. So usually Adobe Max takes place in person in Los Angeles once a year. It's an incredible event. We basically rent out all of downtown Los Angeles and do quite a few events, speakers, and it's a really incredible opportunity. The flip side of that is that the cost of traveling to Los Angeles and the ticket for Max and hotels and all of that, many times is not feasible for many educators and many just in general creatives using Adobe Creative Cloud. So last year was an incredible opportunity because we offered Max online completely free for anyone who wanted to attend. And I know last year we had over 1 million viewers on Adobe Max, which was a huge success. And so we're doing that again this year, and we are bringing you all the content online, some incredible speakers from all around the world, not only in education, but also creatives. So famous, film directors and comedians and artists and designers. So be sure to check out the lineup. And we also have very specific tracks for educators, for beginners, and for students. So if you take a look at each of those links, if you've never joined us at Max before, there are some great ways to get started. And in addition, some great sessions specifically for students and educators. So we encourage you to put that on your calendar and join us. And I should mention as well, as part of the Adobe Creative Educator live stream show, we'll be having on some of the bigger Adobe education evangelists like Paul Tranny and Jason Levine to share their highlights before and after Max. So we encourage you to share your experience from today and throughout the rest of your professional learning with the hashtag Adobe EDU Creative. So if you do share, you'll be featured on our Adobe Creative Educator landing page. So we have a widget here where we highlight all of the top tweets and posts from any of our events we're doing. So note that if you share, it'll show up here. And I should also mention, this week is also an exciting week because we just launched our Instagram account. So if you go to Instagram or you're on Instagram and go to Adobe for EDU, we'll also be sharing some unique live content there during Adobe Max and other resources. So again, we encourage you to tweet, post with the hashtag Adobe EDU Creative to really become a part of our larger professional learning network. Which brings me to 3 final steps that I want to share with you. So again, if you are relatively new to building a PLN, a professional learning network, or getting connected to other educators online, these are 3 simple steps that you can do to kind of grow your network. If you're not already on Twitter, we really encourage you to start a Twitter account. Participate in a Twitter chat, which you can search for by a hashtag, like hashtag Adobe EDU Creative. Join an education Facebook group. We have several. I know there's one for the APAC region for educators. There's one for our creative educator community. And we also have one dedicated to Spark, and we can share you all those links. One of the things of joining a Facebook group is that you don't necessarily show all of your personal information, as I know some educators have asked me that in the past, or any of your photos. It's just you join the group with your profile, but if you're not friends with everyone in the group, they won't see anything that you've made friends only on your privacy settings. You can become ACE Level 1 certified, so to earn your Level 1 badge. And then moving on, explore education blogs, connect with a colleague in the field virtually, get inspired and start to follow other educators who teach similar subject areas or grade levels that you do. And you'd be surprised, all around the world we have, as I know, Tim and I have connected before with our team in Japan, and we have similar issues that we're facing, not only during this pandemic, but in our classrooms. So it's great to be able to see educators and connect with them all around the world. We encourage you to, then the last step would be, we encourage you to write a blog post, post in a group or a chat, participate in a virtual event, just like you're doing today. So you're already in step 3, and then becoming an Adobe Creative Educator Level 2 certified, which again focuses more on instructional design and how to develop content, student-facing materials that go through the creative process. So I'd like to end today with closing remarks by reiterating that we are better together, and thanking you for joining us today, to sharing your learning and being open to connecting with other educators and the Adobe team all around the world. And with that, please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about our community programs or want to share what you're working on in your classroom. You can reach me on through email at galn@adobe.com or on Twitter at Miss Clara the One.
Clara, thank you so much. That was wonderful. And we encourage you, Clara, to jump into the live stream chat to have a look at the conversations that were happening while you were presenting there. Erin, if you put that stream in the private chat, just in case Clara needs access to it, it'll make it easier for her. But we really appreciate the time getting up so early, well, extra early. And we thank you, because the end of our day is the beginning of your day, more or less. And we appreciate your time. Thank you, Clara.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thanks for being part of the 2021 APAC Adobe Education Summit. Please share questions and comments in the chat and tweet about this event with the hashtag Adobe EDU Creative.
Wow, what a day. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And we hope you, I'd like to do a very special thank you to Erin, first of all, for co-hosting with me. Let's give her a big round of applause, because she did a fantastic job. And I want to thank Jerry, who was with us for the first part of today, because without him, it wouldn't have been anywhere near as slick as it was when we started. So thank you, Jerry.
Well, and I'd like to thank Tim for the amazing job he's done putting it together. Give yourself a round of applause, Tim.
All right.
And we would also like to thank William Spry from Wilcar Productions, who's been working behind the scenes to get this broadcast looking amazing on Vimeo live stream.
Should we bring Will up? Because no one's seen him behind the scenes. Will, give us a thumbs up if you're happy for us to bring you up on camera. Oh, we got
wonderful.
Here he comes. There he is.
Yay.
Let's give a round of applause too. Thanks, Will. All the work behind the scenes there. Fantastic effort. His 15 minutes of fame only lasted 10 seconds, but that's okay.
Oh.
Thank you. He's happy. His team won the grand final, won the AFL grand final, but that's a whole different discussion. Thank you to all the presenters for today, for the time and the effort that you have made, for sharing your passion for digital creativity with us.
And thank you to all the teachers from over 30 different countries who've been watching throughout the day.
Thanks, everyone. Rob the Robot is about to come on and do a closing video. And then I want you to hang on, because as soon as he's finished, there's going to be a really important slide that's going to appear that will have 5 different QR codes on it. I know that's a lot, but one of those QR codes will get you into the feedback form. And that's where you can get your certificate for professional learning for what you've done today. But also there's information there on our Facebook group, on coming events coming up for next year too. Our newsletter, which comes out monthly, well, just for the Asia Pacific region, and of course the Adobe Creative Educator program. So please hang on after Rob has finished with this video. And
don't worry if you miss the links, because there will be a slide after the clip that will feature all the QR codes and links. So if you're not fast enough, we've got you covered.
And please take a screen grab of it or a picture of that link so that you've got permanent access to it, just in case it disappears before you get a chance to do that. So folks, thank you very much. And please, a personal message from me, get vaccinated if you haven't already. I don't know if that's controversial for you, but I'm just putting it out there. I've got family members who are part of the medical industry, the doctors, nurses, and we'd really appreciate it if as many people as possible got vaccinated, even just for their sake, because they're going through a particularly tough time in Melbourne at the moment, as they are right across the world. And both of us are going to say to you, keep being
creative.
That almost worked.
Thank you very much for being involved in the 2021 APAC Adobe Education Summit. Please use this link or QR code to complete the feedback form so that you can get a professional learning certificate that recognises your involvement at this event. If you haven't yet enrolled in the Adobe Creative Educator program, please do so via adobe.ly/ACE and share this program with your colleagues. If you're not already receiving the Australasian Adobe in Education monthly update newsletter, use this link or QR code to opt in. If you are a Facebook user and you haven't joined the Australasian Adobe in Education Facebook group, please do so via this link or QR code. We have a lot of professional learning and student activities planned for 2022, so keep informed via this link or QR code to the Adobe in Education events site. We do hope that you have found this event professionally beneficial and that you have become even more inspired to enhance a culture of creativity at your place of learning. On behalf of Dr. Kitchen and the wider Adobe Education team, we encourage you and your students to keep being creative.